is the Micro Machine Man, presenting the most midget miniature motorcade of micro machines. Each one has dramatic details, terrific trim, precision paint jobs, plus incredible micro machine pocket playsets. There's a police station, fire station, restaurant, service station, and more.
They were tiny. They were everywhere, and for a few incredible years, they actually outsold Hot Wheels. But then, almost overnight, they disappeared. What happened to Micro Machines? How did one of the biggest toy crazes of the 80s and 90s rise to the top of the industry only to vanish almost as fast? This is the story of a tiny toy line that became a giant, and the surprising series of events that brought it all crashing down. In the mid-1980s, the die-cast car world was dominated by giants like Hot Wheels and Matchbox, and competing with them was considered impossible. But a California family-run company named Galoob decided to go in the opposite direction by going smaller, much smaller. Two inventors brought them the idea of ultra-miniature, highly detailed vehicles that could be sold in multi-packs for just a few dollars. The cars were so tiny, kids could hold entire collections in one hand, and yet, despite their size, the detail was incredible. Paint jobs, molded features, tiny aircraft wings, and miniature tanks that looked like they came straight from a real-world catalogue. And the strategy worked instantly. Kids were obsessed with the portability and the low price. Parents loved the value, and soon Micro Machines were everywhere, on school desks, in backpacks, and scattered across the living room carpets. The craze exploded even further when the toys appeared in the 1990 film Home Alone, where Kevin McAllister famously used them as a trap for the intruders.
I'm up here, you morons! Come and get me!
Everyone watching instantly recognized the tiny cars. They were practically a universal childhood experience at that point. But Micro Machines didn't become a mega hit just because kids loved them. They became a phenomenon because of one man, John Moshita Jr., the Guinness-recognized fastest talking man alive. Galoob hired him to star in their commercials, and it was one of the greatest marketing moves in toy history.
This is the Micro Machine Man, presenting the most midget miniature motorcade of micro machines. Each one has dramatic details, terrific trim, stupendous styling, precision paint jobs, working wheels, micro machine cars of vast variety, including Lamborghini, Trans Am, Corvette, 4x4, Blazer, pickup Charger, and many more. Micro Machine planes, polished, perfect precision like F-15, Corsair, Space Shuttle, P-51, Mustang, Micro Machine boats, a fabulous fleet of tugs, PTs, and speedboats. Talk about small! Micro Machines are less gargantuan than a grasshopper, as midget as a marble, and smaller than a silver dollar.
Moshita blasted through the features of each playset at lightning speed, giving the commercials a frantic, high-energy style that matched the brand perfectly. They were unforgettable, funny, chaotic, and packed with information. And they always ended with the iconic line, "If it doesn't say Micro Machines, it's not the real thing."
Remember, if it doesn't say Micro Machines, it's not the real thing! Ah!
The ads became part of the brand's identity and helped propel the toy line to massive heights. So by 1989, Micro Machines alone were generating around $135 million in annual sales. For a company as small as Galoob, these tiny cars were now their biggest engine of success. And as the craze grew, Galoob expanded the Micro Machines universe far beyond cars. The company introduced transforming playsets that became a staple of 90s toy culture. Kids could open a toolbox to reveal a full working garage, unfold a van into a bustling city, or pop open cases that transformed into racetracks, construction yards, and military bases. These sets were portable, imaginative, and brilliantly engineered. And Micro Machines also branched into monster trucks, police fleets, boats, jets, tanks, color-changing vehicles, and one of the most creative lines in toy history, the Insiders, where a Micro Machine opened up to reveal an even tinier version hidden inside. But the biggest leap forward came from licensing. Galoob secured deals for major franchises, including Star Trek, James Bond, and the one that truly exploded, Star Wars. Now, the Star Wars Micro Machines line became wildly popular. For many fans, it was the first time they could own palm-sized versions of the Millennium Falcon, X-Wing fighters, TIE fighters, and Star Destroyers. These small sets let kids reenact massive movie battles on tabletops and bedroom floors, and they quickly became iconic pieces of 90s toy culture. Now, Micro Machines even jumped into the world of video games. Developed by Codemasters, the top-down racing series placed players on tracks built across breakfast tables, bathtubs, pool tables, and school desks. The games were chaotic, fast-paced, and beloved, perfectly capturing the spirit of the toy line. And for a while, Micro Machines seemed untouchable. But by the mid-1990s, trouble was brewing behind the scenes. The downfall wasn't caused by one single issue. It was a combination of several, all hitting around the same time, unfortunately. The first problem was the brand itself. Micro Machines grew so quickly and branched into so many themes that the line began to lose focus. With sets covering everything from military battles to futuristic racing to licensed movie ships, the brand started to feel scattered. And in some cases, the licensed franchises, especially Star Wars, overshadowed the Micro Machines logo entirely, weakening the brand identity that had made them so powerful in the first place. And at the same time, the entire toy industry was changing. Electronic entertainment was on the rise. Game Boy, Tamagotchi, and a wave of digital gadgets began capturing kids' attention in a way traditional toys struggled to match. The appeal of tiny plastic cars simply couldn't compete with the excitement of handheld screens. But the final blow came from the corporate world. In 1998, Hasbro purchased Galoob for around $220 million. Now, most analysts at the time agreed that Hasbro's main motivation was securing the valuable Star Wars license that Galoob controlled. And once Hasbro owned the rights, Star Wars toys were folded into Hasbro's existing operations. Micro Machines, now without the licensing star power and without a dedicated team driving them, were no longer a priority. Hasbro shifted focus to core brands like Transformers, G.I. Joe, and Nerf. New Micro Machines released slowed to a trickle, and by the early 2000s, the once mighty brand all but disappeared from the shelves. For many kids, it felt like they vanished overnight. But the story doesn't end there. Over the years, multiple attempts were made to revive Micro Machines. An early 2000s reboot came and went quickly. In 2015, the line briefly returned with new Star Wars sets tied to The Force Awakens, but it again faded shortly after. In 2020, the most ambitious revival launched under Wicked Cool Toys, later acquired by Jazzwares. This reboot brought back classic themes, updated vehicles, and playsets like a modern supervan city.
Is this the van to Supervan City?
Sure is.
1, 2, 3, 4. You can get into town. Supervan City. Just fold it on down. Micro Machines taking over the place with real racing dragsters ready to race.
Now, some collectors praised the return, calling the new line the closest thing to the original in decades, while others criticized the lack of licensed real-world vehicles and felt the magic wasn't fully recaptured. Today, Micro Machines live on mainly as a nostalgia brand, cherished by collectors but no longer dominating toy aisles. In the end, the rise and fall of Micro Machines is a classic underdog story. A small family company outsmarted the biggest players in the industry through creativity, scale, price, and one of the most iconic ad campaigns ever filmed. Their fall came from a mix of brand dilution, shifting childhood interests, and a corporate acquisition where they simply became low priority. Yet their legacy remains strong. The original Micro Machines are now highly collectible, miniature time capsules of a generation's childhood. They remind us of a time when a whole universe of imagination could fit in your pocket, and when a fast-talking pitchman could convince millions of kids that if it didn't say Micro Machines, it wasn't the real thing.